All right, so let's jump into another deep dive today.
Yeah.
We are tackling something that I feel like is on everyone's minds these days, especially business leaders,
Yeah, for sure.
and that's automation.
Yeah.
But more specifically, what does it actually take
Yeah.
to implement it
Yeah.
in a way that it's successful? You know, not just, oh, look, we automated this thing.
Yeah.
It's actually making a difference. It's actually helping.
Right. It's not just a checkbox.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So our guide for this deep dive is a
Yeah.
really interesting article called Key Governance Factors for Automation Success.
All right.
And it's by Abhinav Soharwal,
Okay.
who is a senior RPA business process consultant.
Okay.
And in the article, he lays out all these different challenges that businesses run into
Yeah.
when they're trying to do this.
Makes sense.
And one of the things that I found really interesting, and we're going to kind of dig into all this,
Yeah.
is he talks about, like, how do you prove that automation is valuable?
Right.
Beyond just cutting jobs. Right. Because I feel like that's the first thing everyone jumps to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, we're going to automate, and then a bunch of people are going to be out of work.
Yeah, robots are taking over.
Right,
It's
exactly.
a classic robot takeover.
So it was really interesting to see that he addresses that right off the bat,
Okay.
that it's not just about headcount.
Yeah.
And he talks about it, actually,
Oh, wow.
creating a more positive work environment.
Really?
So I'm curious to hear, from your perspective, like, how does that work? How is that possible?
Well, I think that the thing about automation that people don't always realize is it's not about replacing people. It's about taking away the boring parts of their jobs.
Okay.
The really repetitive, soul-crushing tasks that no one wants to do.
The data entry.
Exactly. That
Okay.
kind of stuff. And when you free people up from that, they can focus on the more creative, strategic, fulfilling parts of their work.
Oh, okay.
So it actually can lead to increased job satisfaction.
He even uses the phrase, like, improved employee satisfaction in the article.
Interesting.
But honestly, like, is that realistic? Because wouldn't people just be constantly worried, like, okay, well, what if my whole job is automated?
Yeah, I mean, that's a valid concern, but I think the key is to focus on automating the tasks, not the jobs themselves.
Okay, so, like, how do you figure out what to automate?
Well, that's where the picking the right projects comes in, like you were saying.
Yeah, he emphasizes that a lot.
Right, because you don't want to just automate everything for the sake of automating it.
Right, right.
It has to be strategic.
Yeah.
It's got to align with the company's goals, you know?
Okay.
You really have to think of it like, you know how you choose investments?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't just throw money at any random stock.
Right.
You do your research, you figure out which ones have the best potential.
Exactly.
It's the same thing with automation.
Okay.
You got to focus on the processes that are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck.
High ROI.
Exactly. High ROI.
So, like, what would be an example of that?
So let's say you're a logistics company, right?
Okay, yeah.
A great place to start might be invoice processing.
Oh, yeah. There's tons of
Tons of invoices. It's all rules-based. It's super repetitive.
people just hate doing it.
Exactly. It's like the definition of a soul-crushing task.
Yeah.
But if you automate that, you free up your employees to do more interesting things that actually require human ingenuity.
Yeah, I like that.
It's about working smarter, not harder.
Yeah,
And it's not just about the bottom line either.
yeah. You know, like we were talking about, it can actually make for a happier workforce.
Exactly.
But you know what I keep thinking about?
What's that?
He makes this really big point in the article
Okay.
about stakeholder engagement
Right. Yeah.
and how it's not just an IT project.
No, absolutely not.
No.
It really touches every part of the business.
Like, how so?
Well, think about it. When you automate a process, it's usually going to impact multiple departments. Sales, marketing, finance, you name it.
Yeah.
So you need buy-in from all those different stakeholders.
Otherwise,
Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for disaster.
yeah, because they're the ones who are actually going to be using these systems.
Exactly.
So if they're resistant or they don't understand how it works,
It's not going to work,
Right.
no matter how good the technology is.
yeah.
So communication is absolutely key here.
And along those lines, he also talks about addressing employee concerns about automation
Right, which is so important.
because people are going to be afraid of losing their jobs.
Yeah, for sure.
So things like providing training programs
Absolutely.
so people can adapt and learn new skills.
Yeah, because it's about empowering them,
Right, right.
giving them the tools they need to thrive in this new environment.
And that kind of goes back to that lifecycle management idea that he talks about,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
It's not just like, okay, we launched this automation,
Right.
everything's done, we're good to go. It's like it needs to be constantly tended to.
Yeah, it's a living thing.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it.
You know, like a garden.
Okay, I like that analogy.
You don't just plant a seed and walk away, right? You got to water it, weed it, make sure it's getting enough sun.
So you're constantly monitoring, optimizing,
Exactly.
making sure everything's still running smoothly.
Right. And that requires a real commitment from leadership.
Yeah, they got to be invested in this.
Not just in the initial implementation,
Right.
but in the long-term success of the automation initiatives.
So, okay, let's do a quick recap because we've covered a lot of ground here.
Okay.
We've got these 4 key governance factors that Saparwal lays out
Right.
for making sure automation is actually successful.
Mm-hmm.
First, we got to demonstrate the value.
Beyond just headcount.
Right.
Show how it's actually making people's lives better.
And then picking the right projects.
Hmm.
You know, the ones that are actually going to move the needle.
Right. High ROI,
Exactly.
strategic alignment,
Yep. Like
stakeholder engagement. So important.
getting everyone on board.
And finally, life cycle management.
It's got to be an ongoing thing.
Exactly.
And it's so interesting because he ends the article
Oh, yeah.
with this question.
Oh, okay.
And he says, how is your organization tackling these governance challenges?
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does.
Because this is something that every organization is going to have to grapple with.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're leading the charge on automation.
We're just trying to keep up with it.
Exactly. This technology is changing the way we work.
Yeah, big time.
And understanding these key factors.
Essential.
Absolutely essential for navigating the future of business.
Well, I think that's a great place to wrap up our deep dive for today.
Yeah, lots to think about.
Definitely a lot to think about.
Definitely.
Thanks for diving in with me.
Anytime.
All right, until next time.
See you then.